What if a magical camera photo could write the future? Bart found an ancient camera buried in Springfield. And every picture it takes becomes real. At first, it was all fun and games. Until Mummies woke up, mayors turned into monsters, and Springfield started falling apart. This isn't just a magical camera. It's a ticking time bomb. Will Bart stop the madness? Or snap the photo that ends it all? Before starting the story, guys, like and subscribe.
The Strange Discovery. It was a quiet and lazy afternoon in Springfield. The sun was warm, the trees were green, and Bart Simpson was bored as ever. Springfield Elementary had taken the kids to the local park for Plant-a-Tree Day. While Lisa took it seriously and Milhouse whispered to his little sapling like it was a baby, Bart spent the time kicking rocks and dragging his feet across the grass, hoping something interesting would happen. And something did. While stomping near a tall oak tree, Bart's foot hit something hard. Curious, he dropped to the ground and dug with his hands until he uncovered a dusty, old camera buried under the soil. It had strange markings and a cracked lens that still blinked with a faint red light. At first, Bart thought it was broken. But when he pressed the shutter button, the camera made a loud click, and a photo popped out from the bottom. The picture showed Bart and Milhouse standing exactly where they were. But behind them stood something horrifying, a tall figure wrapped in bandages, its glowing eyes staring right at the boys. They looked around, but the park was empty. Little did Bart know, this was no ordinary camera. It didn't capture the present. It showed the future. Chapter 2, The Photo Comes True. Bart didn't think much of the photo at first. He laughed, showed it to Milhouse, and called it a prank. But Milhouse wasn't so sure. The photo felt too real. Too detailed. And the mummy in the background looked familiar. Ancient, but somehow alive. That night, back home at 742 Evergreen Terrace, Bart showed the picture to Lisa. She frowned and warned him that cameras like that had been recalled long ago, rumored to be cursed and connected to some strange science project from the past. But Bart didn't listen. Just after dinner, something strange happened. While Homer was searching the fridge for a late-night snack, he screamed louder than anyone had ever heard before. Marge came running, and what they found was chilling. Inside the fridge, right behind the leftover lasagna, was a cold, bandaged hand resting beside the orange juice. The mummy from the photo had appeared. The same mummy that hadn't been there earlier that day. The same mummy that was standing behind them in the photo. Bart realized, with a gulp, that the camera had predicted this. And worse, it had made it happen. Chapter 3, The Camera That Sees Tomorrow. Bart had always been the kind of kid who laughed in the face of danger. But even he couldn't laugh now. The photograph hadn't just captured a spooky image. It had predicted it. And worse, it had made it real. The next morning, Bart rushed to his room, grabbed the camera, and pointed it out the window. He snapped a photo of the quiet neighborhood, just to test it. The sky in the real world was clear blue. But in the photo, the same neighborhood was buried under snow. Thick snow. In June? Bart muttered to himself. He shrugged. Maybe it was just broken. Maybe it was some kind of weird filter, like those goofy ones Grandpa kept using on his phone by accident. Still, just to be sure, Bart decided to test it again. He took a picture of his living room. The photo popped out and showed something unexpected, Homer standing next to a big sack of gold coins, wearing a king's crown, while Maggie held a rubber chicken like a scepter. It made no sense. But 3 hours later, when Homer entered the living room, slipping on a banana peel and falling into the couch, he landed on a box Marge had just brought in from the attic. Inside? Old toy coins from Maggie's pirate birthday party. Bart's jaw dropped. The camera wasn't just showing random moments. It was showing real events, moments that hadn't happened yet, but soon would. That's when Bart got an idea. A big, greedy, classic Bart Simpson idea. If the camera could predict the future, then maybe it could predict fortune. Or better yet, trouble for someone else. Chapter 4, The Treasure in Moe's Tavern. Later that day, Bart met up with Milhouse at the Quickie Mart, hiding the camera under his shirt like it was stolen candy. He explained everything: the mummy, the snow photo, Homer's pirate gold accident, and Milhouse's eyes got wider than a donut on discount. They decided to test the camera again. This time, they aimed it at the front of Moe's Tavern, the saddest bar in Springfield. Bart clicked the button. Out came a picture. It showed Moe Zeislak, the grumpy bartender, holding a giant treasure chest, surrounded by jewels, gold bars, and a very confused-looking Barney Gumble trying to wear a crown made of pretzels. The boy stared at the photo. "A treasure under Moe's?" Bart whispered. "No way." But Milhouse's eyes sparkled. "We have to dig." So that night, just after Moe closed his bar and fell asleep on the counter with a pickled egg in his mouth, Bart and Milhouse snuck inside through the back window. Armed with a flashlight, a garden spade, and 3 expired Krusty Burger coupons, they crept under the floorboards and began digging. At first, it was just dust and beer caps. Then, clunk. Bart hit something. They uncovered an old wooden chest, covered in cobwebs and beer stains. Inside was a pile of what looked like gold coins, necklaces, and a scroll that read, "Property of the Ancient Order of Springfieldians. Do not touch." Naturally, Bart touched it immediately. Suddenly, the air grew cold. The lights flickered. And from the photo on the floor, the mummy appeared again, this time crawling out from under the table with an angry moan. Bart screamed. Milhouse fainted. And Moe? He woke up just long enough to see the mummy, scream louder than anyone ever thought he could, and throw a bottle of pickle juice at it before jumping out the window in his underwear. The camera had done it again. What it showed always came true. But now Bart had a problem. The mummy wasn't just a creepy extra anymore. It was following him. Chapter 5, A Visit to Professor Frink. With the camera causing mayhem, and a bandaged ghost following him like a bad smell, Bart knew he couldn't handle this on his own anymore. He needed help. Scientific help. So, the next day, wearing sunglasses and hiding the camera under a towel like it was radioactive, which, for all he knew, it might have been, Bart made his way to Professor Frink's lab. Professor Frink, the town's resident genius and part-time chaos generator, was trying to invent a machine that could butter toast telepathically. It wasn't going well. The toast kept hitting the wall. Bart shoved the camera into his hands. "Fix it," he said. "Or explain it. Or at least tell me if it's cursed." Frink adjusted his goggles, held the camera up, and said, "Hoigen Blargen. This isn't just a camera, my boy. This is a relic from Project Future Snap, a top-secret invention made in the 1970s by time scientists. It captures the immediate temporal echo of a possible future timeline based on current quantum momentum." Bart blinked. "So, it takes pictures of the future?" "Yes," Frink replied. "But it's unpredictable. The camera doesn't just see the future, it sometimes creates it. Every photo becomes a small destiny trying to happen." Bart was horrified. "So if I take a picture of Principal Skinner eating worms?" "He might actually end up doing it," Frink said, nodding seriously. "And loving it." Bart grinned. "Sweet." Frink warned him again, "Be careful. The more you use it, the weirder the timeline gets. If it falls into the wrong hands." But Bart had already left. He had a plan. A big one. And unfortunately, it involved the one place no camera should ever go. Krusty Burger. Chapter 6, The Photo That Changed Everything. Bart figured if the camera could create the future, then maybe it could create one where he was rich, famous, and not grounded until he's 30. So he stood outside Krusty Burger, aimed the camera at the giant clown-faced building, and pressed the button. The photo popped out slowly. At first, it looked normal. But then, there it was. The image showed Bart on TV, holding a microphone, wearing a cape, surrounded by cheering fans and reporters. A banner behind him read, "Mayor Bart declares free burgers for life." "Mayor?" Bart yelled. "Yes." He rushed inside, jumped onto a table, and shouted, "Attention! I have a camera that shows the future, and guess what? I'm going to be the next mayor of Springfield." Everyone laughed. Except Krusty the Clown, who had just walked in to check on his secret new burger sauce, which may or may not have been made from recycled rubber bands. Krusty saw the photo and froze. "That's me." In the background, he mumbled, "And that's my secret sauce recipe being stolen by Sideshow Mel." Bart stared. Sure enough, in the corner of the photo, Sideshow Mel was sneaking away with a greasy notebook labeled "Top Secret, Krusty Sauce Formula." Krusty panicked. He grabbed the camera from Bart's hands and ran screaming out the door, yelling something about betrayal and hiding his patents in a volcano. Bart chased after him, dodging fries, tripping over Ralph Wig Gum, who was trying to eat ketchup packets like candy, and jumping onto Krusty's clown car as it peeled out onto Main Street. But it was too late. The damage had already begun. The photo came true. Krusty's sauce formula was stolen. The next day, all the Krusty burgers in town shut down, replaced by a new chain called Mel's Magical Munchies, complete with creepy jester hats and motivational quotes like, "You'll never clown alone." Krusty disappeared. Sideshow Mel became rich. And Bart? Bart became known as the kid who broke the burger economy. Worst of all? The mummy was still following him. Now it wore a Mel's hat. Chapter 7, Lisa and the Loop of Doom. Springfield was getting weirder. Since the camera arrived, everything had shifted. Moe's was full of gold diggers. Krusty Burger had turned into a jester-themed nightmare. Sideshow Mel was on the cover of Forbes. Worst of all, the mummy that once just haunted Bart's nightmares was now his locker buddy at school. The final straw came when Bart took a photo of Ned Flanders, hoping for a laugh. The photo showed Flanders with giant muscles, a cape, and the name tag, Captain Righteous, ruler of Springfield. And guess what? The next day, Ned Flanders saved an old lady from falling down the church steps, went viral online, and was offered a mayoral endorsement by Kent Brockman. The town started calling him a superhero. That's when Lisa stepped in. She barged into Bart's room holding a giant science book and a megaphone. "Bart," she yelled. "This camera isn't a toy. It's causing temporal feedback loops. Every time you take a photo, you force reality to catch up. It's like dragging Springfield through quicksand made of chaos." "Cool," Bart replied, chewing gum. "No, not cool," Lisa said. "You have to destroy it." But Bart wasn't ready. He liked his new life. Every photo was a shortcut to power, fame, and fun. That night, he snuck out and took one last photo, a selfie of him standing over a throne of burgers and gold, with the caption, "King Bart, ruler of everything." But when the photo developed, something was wrong. Behind Bart in the picture, everyone else was gone. No Lisa. No Homer. No Maggie. No Marge. Not even Milhouse. Just a world filled with emptiness, and the mummy, holding the camera, smiling. Chapter 8, The Final Snapshot. Bart ran through the streets of Springfield. Everything was going wrong. People were disappearing, buildings were collapsing into themselves, and weird glitches were happening everywhere. Principal Skinner was moonwalking. Ralph Wig Gum was giving life advice. Even the Quickie Mart had turned into a time-travel donut portal, and no one knew if it accepted credit. Bart rushed to Professor Frink's lab again, desperate for answers. Frink was already in a panic, wearing 4 pairs of glasses and typing on a microwave. "It's the camera," he said. "Your latest photo created a dominant future thread, one where only you exist. If we don't reverse it now, Springfield will become a lonely void of cheeseburgers and selfies." Lisa appeared behind Bart. "Bart, you know what you have to do." Bart looked at the camera. Then at the last photo. He sighed. For once, he didn't have a prank or a trick. Just a choice. He raised the camera, took a picture of himself. Smashing it. The photo popped out, a blurry image of Bart mid-swing, shattering the camera to pieces. And just like that, poof, Springfield snapped back. The mummy turned into a pile of wrapping paper. Mel's magical munchies became crusty burger again, with slightly more health violations than before. And Ralph Wiggum forgot what he was talking about mid-sentence. Everything was back to normal. Well, Springfield normal. Clapperboard epilogue, the moral of the mayhem. Back at home, Bart sat on the couch, watching TV, feet up, arms behind his head. Lisa sat beside him with her arms crossed. "You learned your lesson, right?" she asked. "Yeah," Bart said. "Never take magical objects from ancient tombs unless you want a haunted sidekick and a melted burger economy." Lisa smiled. "And?" Bart sighed. "And, the future isn't something you can control with a button. You have to live it, moment by moment." "Good boy." Bart paused. "But if I did find another camera that showed the lottery numbers?" Bart. Okay. White medium star moral of the story. Taking shortcuts to control the future can ruin the present. Sometimes, the best moments are the ones we don't plan at all.